All right, guys, I got Sina Pahlevan in the building today, and he's also the newest Bitcoiner.
Don't say that. Not yet. Not yet. I'm trying to
Almost.
be.
I gave him about a 20-minute synopsis in the pre-show on what to do about Bitcoin and
Yeah, he told me to
cryptocurrency.
invest $10 into it. No, I'm joking. No, but you did convince me. I have to do this now.
See, I told you, man. This is what I was saying in my last episode. For those who haven't listened yet, it's just providing everyone the details about where finance is going, and I'm a big advocate of it. And any way to help, I will always be here.
No, dude, that's actually what got me into it, is I actually listened to your last episode. I was like, fuck. I mean, if I keep seeing these things on the internet, should I do it? And I just don't want, I told you, I want to hit every area in life. So this is the future of finance. It really is cryptocurrency. Like, you could hate it, dispel it, but look, my only problem was I didn't want to learn it because it's just like I have too much stuff going on. But like at the same time, it's also a bonus. Like, I do want to learn it now, you know?
Hey, I can respect that. It's all about the hustle and learning, especially in a time like this where we're all stuck at our homes and we can do a lot of personal rebranding and figuring out.
I want to get on the wave before it blows up. Like you said, like I want to get on this before like it goes over 10K or stuff like that. You know, I'm kind of mad I'm already too late on it. Cause like
never too late, my friend.
No, but I've heard about this for years. Like, and if I had gone on this, remember the story, what you told me, it was half a penny. Have you heard the story about the dude in the store that went screaming, buy Bitcoin, like in 2008, and it was worth half a penny? Everybody's like, dude, you're crazy. He was homeless. You fast forward 6-7 years, he's a millionaire.
Yeah.
So that, you know, like, I just wish that I had gotten on this earlier.
Hey, never too late, my friend. The best day to start anything is now, just as me and you are both doing within our respective entrepreneurial fields. Yeah. And so we'll dive into that. First, I want to say thank you for responding on LinkedIn.
I want to say thank you for marketing yourself. I got it. Listen, I respected the hustle. I was like, all right. My friend was like, listen, you need to go on more podcasts to grow your base, because I never really thought of it like that. So when I saw your pod, I looked at your shit, I just noticed the consistency. I was like, okay, I'm down for this.
Okay.
That's all I noticed.
I appreciate it. And for myself and for all the audiences, I think that somebody's backstory is a priority, and it helps create the motto that you are, as well as who you became. So can you give all of us, as well as myself, a description of your childhood, how you ended up in Vegas, and leading up to your current position of Talk2Much Sports Entertainment?
Well, you know, I'm not saying I'm anybody special, though, now that you put me on the spot like that. But yeah, I'm an immigrant. For those that don't know, I'm an immigrant. My parents immigrated here from Romania my dad's from Iran, but my mom's from Romania. I was born in Romania. We immigrated here when I was 2, grew up in Chicago. My parents are both in the medical field, so I grew up in a family of very strict education. Now, I never really cared for school like that, but you know, I'm just really, I was always really, really smart, but I just never really cared for school. But you know, somehow I graduated college. I joined Pi Kappa Phi, a fraternity. I'm a founding father. I met some great people there, had some great times. And now here I am. I decided to start my own. I love sports, right? That was my passion. You know, I think I have a one of a kind speaking ability. That's pretty much the only thing I'm good at on this planet. Other than that, I'm inherently useless. But I was just thinking to myself, I got to mix those two together. And I came up with Talk2Much, a podcast last year. But last year was just a podcast. You know, I was working with a company, an editor and shit. And I realized as I was getting further and further into it, I was learning more and more. I decided I need to do it myself. So I built a studio in my house, you know.
For those that are viewing, he's got a little bit of studio in the background.
Yeah. And, you know, I hate talking too much about myself, believe it or not. But, yeah, I got here because, you know, just like you and I were both on the same page that, you know, you need to be putting out content, and sports is my passion. So as I got deeper into it, you know, I left the editors. I created my own studio. I built it up. Now I do my editing, and I relaunched my shows. But about 3 months ago, you know, I don't know. It's funny how life works. Xtra Gaming came and picked me up. I ran into, you know, a guy I went to college with. His name's Manny Vietes, you know, a stud. He started his own professional esports org in 2018. But, you know, it grew a lot. It grew really fast. I'm not gonna lie. A lot of us, his peers, were very shocked at how fast his organization grew. Now, you know, he has about 44K followers on Instagram, where 2 years ago he had nothing, at 5K. So he grew, and he came to me and said, Sina, I want to open up a sports branch called Xtra Athletics, because the team is called Xtra Gaming. And I didn't know too much about Xtra Gaming. I saw that they were ranked top 5 in North America in Fortnite. As a new pro esports org, I was like, okay, it's kind of like Bitcoin. Like, to me, everything's about timing, and I gauge everything off value. It's like your life. This is what I tell all my friends, everybody. You don't live life for pleasure. Yes, you want to be happy, but that's later. Right now, your life is like a chessboard. You really can't look at it with emotion or anything. You can't get caught up in your pride or whatever. You got to play everything off timing and value. And so for me, like, I'm looking at all these things going around. My younger sister's going to college. I'm trying to, provide for my entire family in a couple of years. They're not focused on these things. I have to do these. I have to get on crypto. I have to start the podcast. I'm trying to get her to start her own content model at 18. Wouldn't that be smart to get on crypto? And at 18 years old, wouldn't that be smart? Isn't that, again, she's being stubborn. No, Sina. So, for me, I cover sports for Xtra Athletics now. I'm growing that. That's basically like my sports blog, but we're growing that page. And then I run Talk2Much as a podcast label. That's what I transformed it into. So anybody that wants to create little sports podcasts, whatever podcast you want to come, I'd be glad to work with you. But I mainly cover sports for Xtra Athletics. That's what I do. That's my organization. I just graduated college, so that's the team I'm repping. And yeah, that's how I got here.
Yeah, it's what they say right now. Podcasting is the best time ever. I mean, we just saw Joe Rogan sign a $100 million per year contract. So he's kind of setting the near-term limit on how far voice can go. And podcasting is even, I guess, and covering sports, reporting, anything.
Whoa, say that again. What do you mean how far voice can go? Voice can go pretty far.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, like the limit and potential is unlimited with voice.
Oh, there we go.
And the networking opportunity now, you people, especially COVID now, you can't go to social networking events. The best way to network, like this conversation me and you are having now, is through
I was thinking
podcasts.
that right now. Like, think of it this way. Like, a lot of people we know in our lives that don't do this, and I'm not saying this is a great opportunity. There's a 99% chance you and I are nobodies, and then there's a 99% chance you and I are the superstars 10 years from now. But the point is, we never have these conversations, these interactions happen because we're marketing ourselves. So I agree with you there.
Yeah, 100%. And you've been doing this much longer than me. So
to an extent, yeah.
You have about a year on me from the videos that I saw. We'll go back to the beginning. So we'll get a fresh start. We'll get in the track blocks right before we're ready to take off. What was the experience like starting Talk2Much Sports, and what finally gave you that kick in the butt to start it?
I had this idea since I was 22, but my experience last year when I started was actually quite awful. It was just super hard, and I was working with a bunch of people that weren't really I realized you gotta rely everything on yourself. That's the number one thing I realized last year. So I do have a year of experience, but as you're gonna see, I'm launching my debut freestyle sports podcast tonight. I'm kind of rebranding Talk2Much. I'm not doing it like I did last year, because last year I was working with a company called Rolling Sevens, and I realized you can't, number one, it's a waste of money to pay other people for your product. Number two, they're not going to work how you want them to work. So at this point, just do everything yourself. Stop making excuses for everything. You want it done, just do it yourself. That's what I learned last year. I mean, in terms of doing it, it was really fun. I somehow got a pro fighter on there, Juan Adams. I got the head coach of Extreme Couture, Coach Eric Nixick on there, who's Francis Ngannou's trainer. I don't know if you watched UFC. Francis Ngannou's about to fight John Jones. So that's about to be pretty big, and I'm hoping to get them on again. And I've talked to Anthony Smith, who's one of the top 5 light heavyweights in the world. So I've met cool-ass people through it, but the experience itself was very, very fun in the sense of for the first 6.5 months, I only had 63 YouTube subscribers. I didn't know what I was doing. I just kept posting. And then that last month and a half, I grew from 60 to 260. I got my Twitter to 2,000 followers. I was running it so unorganized. I was running 3 Twitters, 3 Instagrams for each show. It was so hectic and too much work, where now I'm really getting back into the swing of things. I'm relaunching. I wouldn't say I'm back to where I was last year before I stopped, but I'm getting back in rhythm. I'm getting my feet settled in this summer. I'm ready to go ham. But again, to me, it was my marketing scheme last year was a little bit unorganized, and this year I'm rebranding in a way. The experience in it itself, though, just I'm sure you could tell yourself, is super fun. Like, I mean, I really enjoy doing this, and I'm not going to lie to you. This is going to seem narcissistic. I do feel like whether no one watches my show or not, I do feel a little bit confident in myself because I'm just putting myself out there. I do feel like, I don't see a lot of other people doing it. So it does give me a little a little sense of confidence, not to be narcissistic.
No, that's you have to believe in yourself, whether you want to be narcissistic or not. You have to have that sort of kick in the butt to get yourself where you want to be. Like when I first started the podcast, my first episode was basically like, this is my idea of the podcast I want to do. I'm going to have people on. I'm not going to be perfect, but over time I will progress and succeed. But for now, I don't really know what the fuck's going on, so bear with me.
No, you're good. No, I'm going to give you props on your game. Your responses are very fluid and good. You're smooth, and you're not like – so the one thing I was wondering was like, all right, is this dude – this is – because I know what type of podcast. It's a Joe Rogan podcast. And I was wondering, is this dude going to be nervous? A lot of people are nervous. You're very, very smooth. I could tell you're a host at Omnia, huh? That's definitely where you got.
No, it's a busser actually, but.
Oh, were you really a busser at Omnia?
Yeah, I learned it. Hey, through the fraternity life, I was VP. I was the rush chair. Trying to rush Jews on campus is very impossible.
I feel you. And honestly, working at Omnia seems like it would be pretty. Isn't it like? No offense, if I had to choose one nightclub, it would be Excess. But I'd put Omnia too. I'm sure you're probably like, nah, Omnia one.
Omnia is more of like the mainstream pop EDM, so you get a lot of the like international tourists that come in, and XS is more about like the culture and
XS is just that Win, bro. Win is just bougie. That's all.
I love my company, but you have to be aware of what they're marketing towards. We're marketing more towards main consumerism, and they're going more for like their clientele because.
Are you going back to XS, by the way? Oh, not
Omnia. It's rough,
Me too. I was wondering the same thing.
I've heard rumors of New Year's Eve's potential. I mean, it makes sense because you're not going to open in October, let's say, if they're allowed. One of my previous guests, Clark County Commissioner Michael Naft, had talked about large scale events are going to be the last thing to open up. So let's say they are given the opportunity to open up October. Is it really worth it to open up to like half capacity? So.
Well, I mean, how long do you think it'll take to ramp up back to like full speed? Like 6 months to a year?
People are saying, yeah. My last guest at Lawn is commercial real estate. He was saying that a lot of the experts were saying 2 to 5 years. And Vegas is like going to be the most hard to hit city across the country.
Because that's what we were banking our bread on. So
yeah, same with you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not for me. Like real talk. I mean, I work in the off season. Well, you don't have an off season, right? Because you work year round.
Yeah, year round.
So I work at Gemma Day Club. Everybody goes on unemployment. I do not go on them. Come on, bro. I had a job at Cipriani's it's a fine dining at the Wynn during the off season. I was a busser there, so I went there in the off season. I saved up money to build my studio. I didn't want to go on. Right now, I was just thinking like to myself, like, well, am I gonna go back? I don't think I'm gonna go back. To be honest, I graduated college just now, and I was gonna have the summer of my life this summer, but I don't know if I'm willing to have it go at it again next summer. Whereas I plan on it being knee deep in my career by then.
Especially both of us are in similar fields with our respective interests. And right now, all the ears and eyes are glued to media and media consumption. And this is the best time to build. And let's say by the end of the year.
I do want to get in. Here's my thing is this is my content. I have a big plan, though. I definitely want to get into the UFC. I want to manage. That's my big goal. I want to get into Bellator, the UFC. I'm not going to take another job. I'm good on money. As you and I are doing this content thing. I will not sign I'm not working another job until I graduated college. I'm not just going to graduate to get any job. This is the most important stage of our lives. I want to get into the UFC, and I have a couple people I keep DMing, but I'm not going to stop until I get in there. Like I already sent my resume. I'm applying every open position. I have a specific position I want, but yeah, I want to trade fighters. That's my career choice.
What makes you feel so close to MMA? I know you had 3 different podcasts. They were fantasy football, hoops, and MMA, but it seems like as of recently you've seemed to hone in mostly on MMA. Is there a reason behind it that gives you attachment to it?
Listen, I love MMA. It's a year-round sport, but believe it or not, I'm mad about that. My co-hosts for MMA were just the most accountable ones. They're very responsible people, so they got this shit up and running like that. My football and basketball co-hosts, my basketball one was scrapped. So I was trying to figure that out. That's why I'm rebranding it. I put out Talk2Much MMA. I'm coming out with a freestyle sports podcast called Head to Head. That's going to be my main podcast. I'm sticking to that. It's going to combine all the sports. But for MMA, to what you were saying, I covered. I was the UFC beat writer for Sin City Sports Mockery for 2 years. I ran the entire beat section. So, that was what I got started on writing, sports writing for freelance sports writing while I was in college. That's what I was doing. So for me, it's my bread and butter, I guess. But hoops is what I'm really really good at is basketball.
Yeah, one of my previous guests runs a sports card business, and we were talking about how basketball sports cards are like the most profitable.
So the reason sports cards are going up, I saw that too. That's another interesting guest you had, because that's another thing I was thinking about flipping too, sports cards.
It's NBA is the most glamorized, and it's always in the media. It has the most crossover with Hollywood and entertainment.
Yes. Thank you for recognizing that. That's why people say this is the best sport. Football's the best sport. I get it. You can keep saying that, but basketball is legitimate a show. Like, it's a show.
Mm-hmm. It's a spectator sport, and you also can see their faces, facial recognition 24/7 throughout it. Whereas football, everyone has helmets on, so they're hard to recognize, and baseball, the field's big, and it's only zoomed in on one player at a time.
Well, let me ask you this. What do you think about sports now with everything go? Because I think it's taken a hit. People are saying, it's going to be way better because people are going to watch it more. Yes, but people are forgetting no one's going to be paying tickets. They're going to lose money on revenue.
Yep, they said that MLB players, a lot of players are actually petitioning not to go back because of the contract that the owners offered them, because they're only going to be making money off of merch sales and media
covering that tonight. That was
advertisement.
some trash. Yeah, I'm covering that. That was, listen, man, they're complaining, you're only paying me $3 million a year to play baseball. Like, please pay me $3 million a year to play baseball. Like, you know what I mean? But at the same time, I see where they're coming from because it is their career. But I don't know about baseball. That one's tough. They're really cutting their money short.
It seems like it's more of a political move than a financial move.
For who?
For the players. They're trying to stick it to the owners. For
the players, I feel like it might be. I don't know. Dude, they're really cutting them short. They want more than 50% of their salary cut off. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's like a lot. So I don't really know. I don't know about baseball, but I know basketball's coming back, right? We're excited for these. But the thing is, the industry of sports, it's going to be there always. And in terms of people watching it might even be better because of media and how. But I really think esports right now, that's why a big reason why I said yes to Xtra Gaming. I think esports is about to.
If you've seen in Vegas, all of the Vegas gamblers have all transitioned over to e-gaming betting.
Wait, what do you mean? Really?
Yeah, the sports books. You haven't seen that? There's League of Legends, Fortnite. There's like 2 other games that you can legally bet on through the Las Vegas sports books. And so, yeah, crazy. And they're receiving over $100,000 a day in bets while the sports have been down. This is still going on. ESPN even wrote an article about it a few weeks ago.
No, I believe it, but that's just crazy. Like, it's kind of sad because I'm having this little debate with my family. They're like, okay, and don't get me wrong, you're Jewish, so I'm sure you were kind of raised with a similar background to me, right? Were you? I don't want to say anything.
Yeah, I was raised Jewish. I was born here. My parents were born here, but, I went to Hebrew school, so traditionally not really religious, but culturally Jewish, yeah.
And education was emphasized growing up for you or no?
Yeah, I got really good grades. I went to UNLV. I'm from the east side of Vegas, so the education wasn't really taken serious there, but I took very sincere within my grades.
Yeah, yourself. So you held yourself accountable more so than your parents?
My mom held me accountable for sure.
Okay, that's what I was trying to ask.
Yeah,
I knew someone was
the Jewish mother guilt. Yeah,
that's what I was saying. I knew someone was up. No, but what I was gonna say is, with everything that's going on right now, like for me, like as we said, we have similar. Our parents, like, they don't get like, esports, video games. They don't get the value. They don't get cryptocurrency. They see the paper dollar bill. They don't. And it's sad because and I had to kind of like pull myself back and look at it from a bigger picture, because in a lot of these situations, families fight, right? Because they have differing viewpoints. But I know that, like, listen, they just don't get any better. And they're not going to learn this stuff. And if they don't, we're fucked. So I got to learn this stuff right now. So for me, it's like cryptocurrency, podcasting, live content, growing my Instagram pages, or growing our pages just in general. That is my main goal right now, because I believe that if you and I like do this, all right, put it in perspective. If we do this every day or every week till we're 30 years old each, how old are you?
I'm 28 right now.
28. Okay. So I'm 24. So let's put it 30 and 26, 2 year different, right? Mm-hmm. even for you more so, because yours like I like your subject matter. You're hitting everything. You're not just doing random big subjects like
I appreciate
cryptocurrency
it.
is a big subject. Real estate. You said you had real estate on something. Real
Yeah,
estate.
I've had real estate, Clark County commissioner, founders of solar companies,
Finance, like things like this
nurses.
are big. I think you'll be able to basically leverage whatever you want in your life because you have a platform. You'll literally be able to, I want this job, I want this, I want that. And, you know, your platform will let you do that. And my parents don't understand that your social media profiles are just as, if not more, just as important as your resume. Believe it or not.
Even bigger moving forward. A lot of
Yeah.
these big tech companies, Google, Facebook, they don't even look for college requirements now. It's more about what can you provide for us.
But it's good that you and I have that diploma also. Like, I'm sure it'll help us if we ever have to go up in a, like, okay, they got the degree.
I always say that I went to college for, I mean, I got an education, I graduated kinesiology, but more so for the social skills and being able to network. I wouldn't have been able to put this podcast together without being able to go through the fraternity, know how to navigate what back then is, I mean, now looking at its meaningless positions, but back then, you know, trying to throw a party for a bunch of people or trying to govern and collect money from 50 people, from 50 college kids is really tough. Just all these different scenarios. It really does set you up for success.
Yeah, just like you said, I think the confidence aspect, we wouldn't have had this confidence because I think I could say, like, I always say this, like, man, I wish I could go back to 18 and start this now, but I would just never had that opportunity because I didn't have this within me. Like, it really was just like you said. And I told my sister this, like, you really should join a sorority just because I really find it's such a waste of money to go to college and not go to Greek life. Because just like you said, the ability to connect in college and form those connections, like, I feel like we can get jobs wherever we want. You know what I mean? I think that's just like you said, the main thing. Because I'm gonna tell you one thing. You graduate good grades. I didn't graduate the best grades. And don't get me wrong, everybody says this. I found school to be extremely easy. I didn't graduate the best of grades, but to me, barely passing was the equal to getting 100%. In fact, I actually looked down on others that were putting their all in the class, getting an A, and I was getting a C. And I know I have more confidence in myself than they do in theirs. Yeah, so, you know what I mean?
I think even more important now in Vegas, the networking aspect's much more important than the educational. Granted, you know, Nevada is always in the bottom 2-3 in education.
Yeah.
But yet, you know, there's so much money out here in Vegas, and it's because of the like hustle and entrepreneurial aspect.
We're definitely dogging the educational system too much now. A little bit too much. I think it still has some value. No,
it 100% has value, but it depends on the specific fields that you go into. You know, like a comm degree, or not trying to knock on comm.
No, but I agree with you.
You know, but some of these more generalized degrees, they put you in so far in debt for a job that doesn't immediately provide once you graduate. Whereas a lot of people just are kind of tricked when you need to go into college for a more specialized degree, like engineering, mathematics, some sort of healthcare. Like all those degrees, you have to go 2-3 levels deep to find a really good job. But with like comm, there's no specific degree afterwards unless you're going into like maybe law or some sort of like, it's very generalized.
Journalism? Yeah. What about journalism? No, not too much.
It just seems like journalism's more experience based, just like business is experience based. I didn't go in for business because I personally thought that I would learn business through experience, which is what I did with an antique store and an app that I did before this. It's all about business is all about the trial and error. Fail forward, fail fast, fail often, which is what Warren Buffett says all the time.
That's what I've been doing with my podcast.
Dude, I have to tell you, when I first started this podcast, like I was aware of social media, but trying to advertise, I have a completely different outlook on it now. Even though I knew it was there, I knew the cast of how social media is more branded material now than it is personalized. But now actually going through it and putting myself through those emotions, you start to realize like,
there we go. You just nailed it. You actually have to people say, oh, I know a lot about social media. Like for me, when people say I've gotten someone, can I market for you? Can I market for you? I don't think anybody can market better than me because I look at the companies that DM me and saying, yo, can you pay me to market? And I say to myself, sure, I'll pay you. Name your price. They'll say the price. I'll say, okay, this is what I need. Facebook, I give them a list of 40 Facebook groups. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, Reddit. I go on Reddit too. So I'm like, can you do all of these every day, nonstop? Don't stop ever, from night to like all day. Don't ever stop. I'll pay you. And they're like, that's not how you do it. I'm like, but that is how you do it. You gotta go. You just gotta go ham. You gotta, it's hard work. But people always look for these like shortcuts, like, yo, I'm paying them for 10,000 followers, or yo, I got someone to advertise my shit, or it's really all just bullshit. It's just do the work. It really is just like you said, trial and error. You got to do it yourself. And for me, like, I'm trying to experience more with my comedy side right now. Like, I make a little bit more comedic videos. I add more comedy into my sports analysis. It's hard for me. I'm a very funny guy, but adapting that to the camera, that's the hard part, because comedy's not like this. Comedy's on another level. To be consistently funny on camera, that's where you hit your peak as a content producer. Because that to me is like, when I see someone that's like consistently funny, I'm like, all right, you got it. You got talent. You know what I mean? That's the hard part for me right now, is adapting my comedy.
It's literally all trial and error, and learning the algorithms was something that I didn't even realize too. Like when I started posting on Facebook, everything just got shot to the bottom because
how do you explain the Facebook algorithm?
Well, the one thing I had learned is that the AI expert for Facebook actually won the Turing Award last year, which is basically the highest honor for AI algorithmic functions. And so he works for Facebook, and so they have a way to obviously monetize the content on there, and it's like so far down now where you basically have to pay to get recognition, or you have to be like a very early adopter that has a lot of friends on there. And so that's what you say with like the trial and error. You have to go to these different social media platforms to try to see like what works, what doesn't. I've had like a lot more engagement on LinkedIn and Instagram than I have on Twitter and Facebook.
Facts, me too.
Yeah, so
I agree, but I tell everybody laughs at me. I'm like, dude, go on LinkedIn. They're like, dude, what are you? It's a place to get jobs. It's a site to get jobs. I'm like, bro, if you post our content consistently on LinkedIn, you will wake up the next morning with 5 messages, just like, yo, da 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 da. You know what I mean? Because we both market, we do that to other people.
Yeah, that's literally where I found you.
Yeah, no, LinkedIn is. I say that LinkedIn is the best place to get organic meetings, organic views. Like, I don't know how. Listen, they're trying to make it a platform to adapt their content to it. That's what I'm still trying to figure out, but I'm all for it right now.
Yeah, and then it's just like now TikTok's like the next wave, so you have to find your own little niche within there. I haven't really
That's the hard part. That's what I'm trying to.
I haven't really gotten into it, but then you also face the problem of like you don't want to spread yourself too thin, where you just become burnt out trying to figure out your voice on each one of these individual platforms when it's just yourself podcasting or running your business. So
I mean, for me, what I do, my advice is, I guess, cut up like the same piece of content and like this same clip, post it on each platform. But like, for example, TikTok is 9:16 ratio. I don't know how the 9 pixels times 16. So just apply the different ratios and stuff. But I agree with you. I don't want to like create a different piece of content at 3 different times a day for each different type of platform. Because then it's like, by day 3, you're like, fuck, I might as well just go work at Amazon.
It's so true. And then there's this false narrative in the beginning when you start, especially, I'm sure you probably felt this too, when you start launching your podcast and your material out there, you don't want to like essentially piss off your followers with the same
I hate
material on multiple platforms. But then you realize like,
oh no, not that. No. I don't think like that, but I just hate like when I make a post, I'm like, man, will these girls like it? Will these dudes like it? I'm like, fuck. And I don't know why. That's wrong thinking. We shouldn't be thinking like that.
It's about my more so was just like pissing similar friends on different platforms, like repurposing the same material, pissing them off and having them unfollow you. But then at the end of the day, you get through the first week of doing that and you're like, oh, they're still here. Like they're
you got your
supporting me.
You're good.
They're good.
And
if they do unfollow you, then you don't fucking need them.
No. Honestly, if that's what I was really thinking, like, and this is a different way. I don't really get hurt if anybody, like, people always say, like, when I meet people, like, oh, like, now people know me as the podcast guy. Oh, Sina, like, I met this dude at Life is Beautiful, the podcast guy. And his friend knew me too, but his friend, like, apologized, like, bro, I don't watch your stuff like that. I'm sorry. I'm like, oh, you're all good. Like, I don't really get mad if people don't watch my stuff or watch my stuff, because there's going to be a lot of them. And the thing is, though, through all this, It's just very, very. Look, I'm very grateful because I'm sure you're the same boat. Like we've had a lot of people supporting us. I've had a lot of people supporting me since I started. I haven't been looked down on, but it's safe to say, I kind of agree with you in the sense that I don't know. It's just interesting to see now that I'm starting this. It's interesting. How do I put this in words? It's just interesting to see who fucks with my shit, who doesn't.
Yeah, there's a lot of silent supporters, and then there's vocal supporters. You have to like be able to categorize them where you don't see them like maybe they're not liking your stuff, but you know that they still support you, or they message you on the side because they don't have the confidence to support you in public yet until you get to a certain status. So there's like a huge variability within your different supporter levels, and sometimes it takes a shot to your confidence or you feel
that's you got to go through that though. You can't even think about that. My friend told me, don't even worry about any of that stuff, just post, don't even think. But we're human beings. It's hard not to like, and listen, I pride myself on not giving a fuck about what other people think, but I give a fuck about what people think about my work. That's what I care about. So I'm on the same boat as you, but again, it's also like I don't blame people for not supporting me, but or supporting me. I haven't had that much issues with that. But again, as I was just saying earlier, throughout all this, I do have people that like watch my shit or see me in person, but they'll never like it or say shit. So to me, it's like, it's just a little sus, but I don't get mad. It is what it is.
It's about it's like when you recognize somebody, but you don't remember their name, but you know exactly who they are until you become very familiar with them. It's almost the same thing with the podcast.
What I've learned to do is, so I don't ever run into these situations anymore, is every follower I get, I just DM them on this. Yo, what's up? I'm Sina. This is my sports content. Every single follower I get. So it's like most of the people ignore them. Some people respond some bullshit, but they know that I'll check my story and they'll watch my stories. They'll start to pay attention because this dude that followed me randomly actually reached out and established a connection.
It's about becoming relatable and even more interpersonal with your followers. And so with the new venture, you said that it was Talk2Much Freestyle, correct?
No. It's just a freestyle sports podcast. Okay. It's a model. I'm calling it, listen, we're in a very friendly setting right now, but I'm actually very aggressive. I'm a debater. I love to debate. And, I love to compete. I'm a competitor. So that's what I called it, head to head. So it's a head to head sports is what it's called. And yeah, this is going to be my main. I scrapped Talk2Much football and hoops. I'm not going to say I scrapped them, but I put them on the side, and I have Talk2Much MMA and head to head. Those are my only two shows under my label. And yeah.
Interesting. And so this platform, it's obviously the culmination of trial and error over the past year. And so you're going head to head with different guests on different topics, or you have a co-host for the show?
I have a co-host, but there's a third option and my co-host, listen, this was the reason I made this is I've never met someone, this is the cocky part of me. I've never met someone that knows as much sports as me. A lot of people are very like basketball enthusiasts, football enthusiasts, and they're up to par with me, but like, I really hit every single sport equally, like a religion. That's because I play fantasy sports year round. So all I've been doing the last 6 years is studying game logs and statistics. Like, for example, Zach LaVine, 25-5-4, 25-4-4 last year. You give me any Zion Williamson, what do you have? 23-8 in 28 minutes a game. So I can memorize these. All I've done is look at numbers. So for me, head to head, when I found one of my old best friends, Evan, kind of reached out to me. We reconnected. Let's just say I looked at him. I was the first time in my life where I was like, this dude knows a lot about this stuff, like betting, everything. And I was just, when I, not only that, he was aggressive with me, and he was kind of like my big bro growing up. So he's not scared to go ham on me. So we decided to create head to head. He has a lot of special guests. I know a lot of guests. We got to grow the platform first, but that's how we got together. But in the sense of what you were saying, there's going to be a third spot open. So I have a guest in every week where there's a lot of people I know that, that I want to carve up on camera. So, but I don't want to, it's just for fun.
It's smart. You need to have variability, especially in a market where I think we both know that the sports podcasting realm is very saturated. So you have to find not only your voice, but you have to find an innovative way to reel in those.
That's why I joined Xtra Athletics, really. That's why I joined a gaming team. I was really like, at this point, listen, I'm so much different than everybody, and I have full-on confidence in myself. But at the same time, you can't get everybody to see that image. So joining Xtra Athletics and joining with a pro gaming team and the things we're working on, and not only that, but I also do plan on expanding into esports and being a host for esports, because I'm part of a pro esports organization now. So that is something I'm going to get into. It's not just, I'm learning all these crafts, but gaming, like I want to commentate on Fortnite, Call of Duty. Unfortunately, I'm not too excited about it, but it's something I'm kind of forcing myself to learn.
Okay, so just so I have this right, and for the listeners, Xtra Athletics is under Xtra Gaming?
Yeah, it's like the little bro brand, just the sports branch. Xtra Gaming is a professional gaming team, and Xtra Athletics is the gaming side. It's me right now. I'm the only one running it. One of our content creators, Pagachu, helps me out. But other than that, it's just me and Pagachu and this guy named Conley and Manny. But it's the sports branch of the esports organization. That's how we're.
And what exactly are you doing under that branch for Xtra Gaming and Xtra Athletics?
So right now I manage the Twitter and the Instagram. And then, of course, since I'm a content creator under Xtra, I got to be posting my own individual content nonstop and growing my platforms. That has to stay consistent. But at the same time, the number one thing I need to be doing is growing Xtra Athletics Instagram and Twitter. Now the Twitter is a little bit difficult. I just post updates. I talk on it. But I have 5,000 followers on it, so I'm good off that. At that point, we're just waiting for Xtra itself to grow. But my Instagram, I just started it 2.5 months ago. I'm at 911 followers. I've been going ham on it. 911 organic followers is not that much, but in 2.5 months, it's hard work for me. I've been commenting on a shit ton of pictures.
It is.
So at this point, I run those two socials. I post my individual content. I try and post a video every day on Instagram, but I also, at the same time, we're planning our we're about to debut our Xtra Athletics podcast. That one is, listen, I have my opinions on it, but on a lot of things, I really like how they're running it, how they want it to be run. It's going to be like a first take kind of show, but they're putting a lot of shit done into the editing and the brand. They want to rebrand the entire page. So right now we're kind of, basically this year, Xtra's really building until we're pushing towards 100K followers. That's our goal. And until we get there, we're really just trying to get our feet settled in. But we're really launching a lot of programs this year. And I'm a little bit shocked because it's a gaming org. I'm shocked that I'm being so included in it. You know, I thought you were just going to throw me away. But, you know, they want to use, you know, my personality for the sports side. And I'm very grateful. But right now, we're just trying to launch these podcasts and grow these these socials. But just to make it clear, when this pandemic, if it's not going on, we're a team. So our team goes in tournaments and plays. So, you know, I would be like, I'd go to DreamHack. I'd go to TwitchCon. I'd go to certain conventions with Manny. I'd go, you know, so I would go with the team. I want to support the team. Obviously, I'm not a competitive player, but I'm still a content creator. Oh, and another thing is I stream on Twitch now every day. That's another thing that I've had to do since I started. Since we're a gaming team, Twitch is a must. So I transfer a lot of my content on Twitch. I'm a Twitch streamer.
I've recently started using Twitch as well, not personally, but just as like spectating onto different potential guests and whatever else the case is.
Hey, that's smart. That's really smart.
I have a guest coming on later that's has a pretty big channel on there. But I've noticed that the Twitch platform itself is pretty heavily dominated by e-gaming viewership.
Mm-hmm. It is right now. Mm-hmm. But it's going to expand into a lot of other things. So for me, it's kind of like real estate. It's like there's a lot of open spaces left. I want to go park my car there right now, get a front row view, you know?
It's just like we said, it's about being innovative. And I just want to touch back on Xtra Gaming. You said that earlier, you said that they were a top 5 team within Fortnite.
North America. Yes, sir.
Can you kind of expand on basically what Fortnite is for the people who don't know what Fortnite is, and then just about the team itself?
Okay, so Fortnite is, I would say it's the game. It's a single player or in squads, battle royale platform game. I'm not too good at it. I've never played it that much. This is Xtra's main game. Xtra Gaming's main game they focus on. They're expanding into Valorant, the new game that just came out. We're expanding into that at the end of the year next year when everything opens up. So that's going to be, I think, where we break out completely when we introduce our Valorant team. But our Fortnite team is actually ridiculous. It's what makes our name. So Fortnite is the biggest esport out right now. League of Legends is, but Fortnite is the esport that got esports to where it is, that got Ninja playing with Juju and Drake, that got everybody going on Twitch. So in terms of Fortnite, they have a competitive roster. So right now we have our best players named Xtra Reet. So what the competitive roster, how you determine how good they are is, of course, they have big events a couple times a year, like DreamHack or the Anaheim event. Sorry. TwitchCon, certain like competitive events, the Fortnite World Championship, the Fortnite World Cup, I mean. So our players compete in all these events, but on a day-to-day basis, they also compete, or week to week, a couple days a week. They compete in Fortnite. The main Fortnite, the company has these things called daily cash cups, and that's where all the competitive players play every day to earn quick money and to advance in the rankings. We have a player. His name's Xtra. That's our best player. Now, this dude is 14 years old. He just turned 14, and he grew from, what was he at, like 1,200 followers when I joined 3 months ago. He's at 5,200 followers on Instagram now. He's now known as one of the best controller players in the world. He's the reason we're a top 5 team. He's a 4-time Daily Cash Cup winner. He placed first in the Cash Cup this last week, and he placed, I think, I don't know, in the World Cup he placed like, I don't know where he placed, but at DreamHack, I remember for the qualifying rounds, he placed 71st. That's really, really good. I know that's really good. So this dude is really a stud. He's our main player, but we have this other dude. We just got Rich Extra Quinn, Rich Homie Quinn, Extra Midi. We have a lot of competitive players. These guys are also really, really good players. So our team is right now top 5 in North America based off the competitive events we've competed in and the daily cash cups. But you know, these just like crypto, these rankings are volatile because there's a lot of events every day. So it's important for Manny, our boss, to continue to find good comp players, to train them, make sure they're good. But here's the biggest thing that he does that I feel like he has an advantage on other orgs is he makes us all stream and post our content. So we're not just competing when talking, interacting in that group chat all day. We're all finding ways to market Xtra and market ourselves. So yeah, that's really what Xtra is.
To me, as you're giving that description, just reminded me a lot of basketball, where it's a team sport, but there's a lot of emphasis on the individual nature of each player, and then there's kind of one.
There we go. Yeah.
There's one player who kind of like leads the charge into the publicity, but they still have the support of the team around them.
So Reed's our best comp player, but like you have 2 jobs. If you're an Xtra, you have 3 there's only 3 reasons you're an Xtra. Number one, like me, I'm the exception because I'm the only one that's not in gaming. I'm there to cover sports, but I'm only there because Manny saw me post my podcast for a year. So I guess you could say that the only reason I'm in Xtra, I guess the first year I was telling you earlier, was not a failure. Because I guess I actually got here. He said the reason I got in here is because I kept posting those. So you got to be a content creator and a streamer. Streaming is a must, though. That content creator, streamer, you got to be a competitive Fortnite player, or you have to be a hell of an editor. Now, for me, I know how to edit, Photoshop, illustrate, everything, as well as stream and cover sports. So where I lack on the main thing is gaming. I made up for it in a lot of other areas. But just like you said, there's just different aspects. So you said there's one guy leading a charge. There is, in a way, but just like you hit it on the nose, it's very individualistic that like you're an Xtra because you're of your name. Like you got to hold your name out. You got to keep working hard every day, you know?
It's the personal brand.
Yes.
And that's been pushed forward by social media itself. And now there's so many different iterations of it.
It's crazy how people still don't like everybody should be marketing on social media every day. Everybody at this point, it's like, so that's what's saturated. And it's funny that people still don't do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think people, like you said, there's just kind of a self-confidence in the beginning I've always been a big Twitter person myself ever since I think I created in 2009. But there was a point over the last year where I kind of like got away from it, and I was kind of just doing like my own personal search to find what I wanted to do. But then coming back into the social media game, I kind of had like this like self-defeat feeling where I couldn't get myself to tweet because I was like, oh, nobody'd like it, nobody would favorite it.
I got past that quick. That was really quickly, but that was the number one thing is like when I felt that feeling, I got disgusted. I was like, nah, this is some weak shit. So I felt that, but I had to cut that out quick because that's what people feel is where they really focus on that. Mm-hmm. For me, it's like all you guys could laugh at me right now, but I got to go for it.
Yeah, and that got you to literally the social networking aspect of your now employer who was a fan of your podcast, and now you're on the team.
Yeah, it's a nice listen. I'm very grateful, and I want to rep this team as I start my career. At the end of the day, is like we're not, we're very young, so it's like we're probably like Xtra will be monetized. I think, I don't know. I can't give you esports is rapidly rising, but I would say 2-3 years, it'll be monetized. But at the same time, until then, I want to make my name in the world of sports. I want to manage an organization. I want to like infiltrate a sports organization. I want to build up a roster. I want to build up a promotion. Like, I want to be the next Dana White. I do. I really do. And when he started young, 30 in his early 30s is when late 20s, early 30s. So right now I got to learn my craft. More so, I make no excuse. I got to get my foot in the fucking door. So that's my only goal for right now is get my foot in one of these promotions.
Any way possible. Something that I always preach is within any founder entrepreneurial, most content creators I would consider entrepreneurs. The commonality that we all have is that there is always going to be many obstacles, but we find any way around the obstacle, whether it's whether it's over, around the side, under, going through it, blowing the whole thing up. Like, we'll find any way possible to get to the other side.
Because if not, bro, I hate people who make excuses, bro. Oh my God, I hate people. My co-host really scarred me for life from this. Is like, let's say, okay, you don't have a mic, or let's say you called me. We have this interview scheduled, and you don't have a mic on you right now. Is that it? You know what I mean? Or let's say I wasn't me, because you would hit me up and say I can't do it. But let's say I'm fucking President Trump, and I agreed to come on your fucking on your podcast. You don't have a mic right now. Are you not going to record the goddamn podcast? No, you're going to find a guy. You're going to go to the store and spend $200 on a mic if needs be. And you'll take the L for the greater W. And it's just crazy that, and I'm not even saying you have to spend money, but for my co-hosts, a lot of people I was recording with, they just were never like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like we all have one team, one dream. But for example, he'd hit me up like, oh, I have homework to do tonight. Thank you for telling me that the day of. Like, what type of excuse? What am I supposed to do with that? You know what I mean? So excuses really scarred me to the point where I'm kind of a dick about it, but because to my co-host especially I was. But just like you were just saying, like, you have to find a way around it. Like, that's just life though. That's what I take no prisoners approach to life. And like, I need to go wash my dishes after this. Like, I need to wash my dishes after this. That's just like, I cannot let them stay there. So that's what I'm going to do after this interview. And I don't want to do it at all. Like, I'm actually dreading it and trying to push it off, but it's going to happen. I have to do it as much as I don't want to. And that's how I think people should treat life. But as I was telling you, no one really looks at it that way. They live for pleasure and make excuses.
Yeah. It's especially in Las Vegas, literally being called the entertainment capital of the world. They prefer They prefer the entertainment over the learning. And
do you think Las Vegas will stay as fruitful as it's been, or continue to grow?
I think we'll innovate. Vegas goes through these different transitional phases of, like, it was founded upon like prostitution and gambling and like the kind of the devil's space, and then it transitioned eventually into like cheap food, dollar eggs.
There's still a lot of prostitution though.
There is. It's actually considered full service workers. One of my previous guests, her name is Jazz Appen. She's she's one of the co-founders of Swan, Nevada, which is the Sex Workers Alliance of Nevada.
What is that? Hold on. What is it? Explain what that is.
So basically, like, how there's like a Me Too movement, or there was the women's suffrage movement, or all these different like human rights movements. There's a sex workers rights movement going. And that's pretty much what they're creating out here in Nevada, because of the different spectrum of sex workers. Like, it's not just quote unquote prostitution. It's strippers, cam girls, and anything that eludes sexual behavior or the physical act.
They're fighting for their rights.
Yeah. And not to party like the Beastie Boys either. It's they're fighting for their rights to survive. It's a tough issue depending on where you are on the political and religious spectrum. But I
mean, I will tell you one thing right now. I'm very open and I don't hold back.
I tell you, listen to the episode 6. If you get some time, listen. Yeah. It'll open your mind up. But going back, Vegas goes through transitional phases. So you had that, and then in the 90s, it was like a family atmosphere. There was Wet n Wild. There was a theme park at MGM. And then recently we had the basically nightclub day life explosion and residencies, EDM.
Early in like 2006, 2005, 7, 8, right?
Yeah, it's like towards the end of the 2000s into 2010s. The next wave will probably be sports and conventions. That's what I guess.
That is because we're getting it. We're getting the Raiders. We're going to get an NBA team. Like, this city will blow up, but it definitely took a little bit of a hiccup in the road with this pandemic. Yeah. Now, as I said, you and I both, as we said, like, And I'm not completely opposed to going back to Gemma. I'm just saying there's a less likely chance because my main goal is to get my feet up and start my career. So if that happens, I doubt I will ever go back to Gemma. But on the off chance that it doesn't, I told you earlier, I'm not going to go with a job unless I get those ones. So I would go back if I don't get one till then. Let's hope that doesn't happen though. But
I have to tell you, I'm right there with you. I'm really enjoying this new life. I'm having the most fun ever doing this podcast. And no, not taking credit away from the 2 previous businesses that I had, but this is giving me a lot of freedom and I'm having a blast doing it. And I would love to continue it more. And even if there's a hint of large success, then I'm going to continue pursuing this. Then
I have faith in you that you'll make it. But if I were you, to be honest with you, like I would go back just because Omnia is year round. Like you make good money every day. You don't have to worry about me. Like, whereas for me, it's like a seasonal job. Whereas Omnia, like think of it this way. You can literally just work Omnia and do the podcast every day until you get to 1 million followers and you're fine. And when that happens, buy Omnia and you'll have, not only that, you'll be on such good money because, you know, Omnia does pay, you know, really well. As a busser, Omnia is insane. So, I mean, just because your job is so convenient and just as secure, it's a high floor job. You know what I mean? You're good.
It is a high floor. A lot of people don't realize though, and it's kind of the unspoken truth to the nightlife industry is how detrimental working night is on your health. You're constantly getting insomnia, sleeping 4 or 5 hours. I know some of my coworkers even sleep less. It's always interrupted. You're like, it takes a real big psychological toll on you as well, because you're waking up at late afternoon. You're like trying to catch up with the day constantly, and you're fighting your biological clock. So a lot of people are actually, not everyone, this isn't for everyone, but a lot of people are actually really unhappy working it, even with the money.
No,
because
I agree.
So physical tolling on you, and you're caught in that kind of lifestyle loop, which leads to a lot of bad decisions. And, you know, I'm one person that's done that a lot constantly as well, and gone through a lot of personal trial and error as well with it.
With the nightclub industry?
Just,
I mean, when you're exposed to
out,
all that shit, like all the girls and everything, I feel you on that.
Yeah, you know,
for me, I was lucky because Gemma just didn't have that quality of girls last year for me to get exposed into that. So my first year, I was good. Sorry.
Before Omni, I actually worked at a pool for 5 years, and I loved working at a pool. The atmosphere is amazing.
Yes, sir.
Daylight, you know, I always tell people when I'm at the nightclub, when a lot of people go to the nightclub, get dragged out by their friends that don't want to be there. There's no one that doesn't want to be at a pool, and at night people get a lot more upset with you because they're tired and been drinking all day.
Yeah, I agree.
Whereas the pool, it's like a day-long event.
It's just fun. It's just so fun at a pool working. Like, I really like Gemma. Like, for this year, as I said, like, I worked 2 weeks. You know, I was planning for a very big summer. You know, resident expectancy was through the roof. Not only that, like, a lot of beautiful girls were added to the roster. And I was working really hard. You know, a lot of the busters from last year left. So I was like I don't like saying top dog, but I was like the center of attention out of the busters at least. So I was like really working my ass off. I'm not gonna lie, except for like the veteran. There were some OG veteran busters there that impressed the fuck out of me. But again, I was really lined up for a big summer, and just like you said, the vibe itself, just it going to work. Like I got in there and I was yelling out, like, let's set up. Like, I was going ham. Like, I was like a sergeant. Like, I take it so seriously. It's fun, though. You know, it was so fun going to the EDR and eating with the whole team. I will miss that. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, because I'll never experience it again.
That's one of the great benefits of working on the strip is it's EDR. quote unquote, people call it not a real job, but it is a real job making really significant amounts of money. And it's a big social event. A lot of people don't end up leaving just because a lot of your coworkers become friends who you end up going out with, or, you know, a lot of people end up dating, developing relationships and families, or business partners, whatever the case is.
Here's my one thing on that. Not a lot of the people in the industry are quality. In fact, a lot of the people in the industry, to me, I like very simple-headed people that just don't have vision. That's my only thing. Whereas you go to school, they're not as confident, but they're more disciplined. They have more vision. Like you could see the lack of education within the industry is kind of sad, to be honest. I'm just being honest. Because like at Gemma, especially from my end, at least, that's the one thing I just didn't like about it. And again, just like you said earlier, I know the college diploma isn't that big of a deal anymore. It's just more so your intellect. That's all.
It shows college degree shows that you can be trained and you can learn within a confined or restrained amount of rules.
No, it's not only that. Like I told it's like if like, I mean, going to college and just learning that subject, you just get way smarter. Like learning how to write, being an English major, or just writing in general, forget being an English major, that's a generic major. And writing in itself, that's the most, in my opinion, most important, because now you can write, you can analyze better, you can articulate yourself better. So it's like, for me, a lot of these people and, cocktail servers, busters, more so busters, because I like just like you, I get along with cocktail servers are nice people, really. A lot of the busters are a little bit egotistical and short-minded,
It is, yeah. It becomes a little bit of the, I don't even know what to describe. It's just like there's a huge amount of testosterone. I'll just put it.
Yes,
I'll just put it that. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah. Everybody's the alpha, but no one's really an alpha. But you know what I mean? Like I told all of them, like, yo, you're post content, do this. None of them wanted to do it. So.
Yeah, I think because of this coronavirus, we're going to see a lot more content out there in the world, which is good. It'll bring saturation, but I enjoy competition. I think that it pushes innovation forward. That's what's good about capitalism itself and not cronyism. Don't get that twisted.
Wait, expand on cronyism real quick.
Cronyism is just the more intense capitalism where a lot of the wealth and power gets concentrated up to the top, and then a lot of the top players just deal within themselves and then therefore deteriorate the middle class. And then
so we're kind of headed towards a cronyistic society then, I would say, wouldn't we?
Yeah, you see it. You see it a lot, or a lot of imitations throughout the world. Depending on your political view, I would say that there definitely is some cronyism going on within the government and corporations themselves. I mean, granted, like I said, the money printer is going burr. We're printing trillions of dollars.
Yeah, I don't know how that's that's really bad, isn't it?
It's not good. I could tell you that.
Yeah, but we need the money, like, don't we?
Yeah, we need money, but it also sets a bad precedent for the future, because this is something that inflation won't happen immediately, but it'll happen 10, 20 years down the road and deteriorates it. That's why I always say buy Bitcoin, because this is a hedge against inflation. As the big.
By the way, I just start on my Cash App.
Cash App.
Just open my Cash App and just look through the thing.
Literally open up Cash App. I'll even send you a video after this to show you. Yeah, there's literally its own Bitcoin chart in there. I recommend buying Bitcoin off of Cash App.
Do I have to set up a portfolio somewhere?
You literally has a wallet installed in there. Then you can download wallet off the side. Like I said, I'll send you some links after this as well. And for anyone else who's listening, please send me a message. I will help you out with everything. Crypto-wise, whatever, digital-wise. Everyone is a walking brand nowadays. So find your voice, find your reason. And we know, just like this conversation here has been a huge networking opportunity for myself and for you as well. We're going to be friends after this. Probably.
Hey, don't push it.
We'll probably do podcasts later down the road.
No, you gotta. Do you watch any sports by any chance?
Yeah, I'm a huge Broncos fan. Huge Broncos fan.
Oh, you need. Honestly, your team is really good now. Your team's going to be really good. Drew Lock's going to be crazy. With Judy.
I played football for 4 years in high school, and I ran track for 3 years. I follow sports, but I only really follow football the most. Right. I understand the rest of the sports. I have a tough time watching baseball and basketball for some reason.
Okay, so when the Broncos get their ass whooped by the Niners this year, I'll schedule that episode in for you to come in.
It's coming. Shanahan should have been our coach.
No, honestly, your team would have been I'm telling you right now, I really think that Broncos team is second. For sure, they're going to make playoffs. I just think Drew Lock's going to be really good, and I just think Cortland Sutton's – I think Drew Lock, Sutton, and Judy are three phenomenal playmakers. They'll evolve into that at least. And you guys just got Melvin Gordon.
Yeah, we added some backs. We're shoring up the offensive line.
Yeah, you guys are sure.
As we know, though, with football, there's always one or two teams that come out of nowhere. There's always two or three teams that were supposed to be good.
You're that team this year. No, you're that team this year.
Let's fucking go.
I agree. Yeah.
But, I love to talk sports. Like I said, I follow football the most just because I played for it in high school, and I have like a real close nostalgia towards it. I think that's a lot of people in America.
Yeah,
with
unfortunately.
sports is that sports literally runs the world. No one took coronavirus serious
Oh,
until
sports were taken away. Yeah.
until Rudy Gobert got
Yes.
diagnosed and they shut down the NBA, and then everyone was
Yeah.
like, "Oh shit, is it that serious?"
Facts.
It's literally a religion. I think NFL is like by far the largest cult out there, cult mafia.
And what?
As
Where?
far as for America, basketball is more international. Football runs America. You know, it's
For
football
now,
Sunday.
but I will say basketball is really like, just like you said, Patrick Mahomes changes things, but basketball is advancing.
Yeah, basketball finds many different ways to leverage their own
Yes.
brand, like through the sports card market and through the shoes market. Like
And the players are closer with the commissioner. They like the commissioner, whereas the players don't fuck with Goodell at all, like whatsoever.
Yeah, the NFL. It's because the NFL is a lot more violent. Like there's something I tweeted a long time ago, and it's kind of just like things that I noticed throughout sports is that have you ever noticed that in baseball, all of their girlfriends, the baseball players, all their girlfriends are like high school sweethearts or college sweethearts.
Yeah. But they cheat on all their high school sweethearts. Don't get me wrong.
The NBA, they kind of shuffle through relationships. There's not like physical violence or anything, but they kind of shuffle through relationships.
Well, my friend, not to get too testy, but now you're playing into demographics, because I'm not trying to get stereotypical, but demographics do play a large part into what you're saying right now.
I could see that. And then in NFL, you see a lot more domestic abuse because the sport is just inherently violent within itself, and it kind of transitions over to the relationship.
Yeah, I can agree with that, to be honest with you. So, I can agree. But the athletes, yeah, they come out of impoverished neighborhoods and they just don't know any better in the NFL, whereas they're trained to hit people every day. I 100% can agree with what you're saying there.
Yeah, so it's just
fucked up as it is.
Yeah, it's just taking notice. Like we said, now we have so many different platforms out there to share your voice and to share opinions, that awareness is spreading on even just the subtleties of different things within sports, and not just sports itself.
My thing is, this is the period I'm kind of like going with the flow, because I'm very curious to see how we transition into how esports transitions and starts to dominate everything. I'm very curious as to what's going to happen the next year or two, where Bitcoin takes off like you think. And I'm on your side if I'm like, I really am like going to do that today, right after this.
Mission accomplished.
No, I am. But I was before. I also really quickly, only $10. I'm still only a little bit confused as to why you.
I just say $10 just so people can get used to learn how to just the space in general. Like once you put money into something, then you're committed to it. Like,
okay, that's true.
For example, like the podcast idea, I sat on the idea for 2 years, but it wasn't until I actually like ordered the material where I was like, all right, I'm finally fucking doing
now
this. It's like, it's just like going to a music festival. No one really commits until the tickets are bought.
No. And it's funny. That's actually a really good analogy, but it's funny that you said that you sat on this for 2 years too, huh? I kind of sat on it for about a year or so too, just because I don't know why. I was scared. I don't know if I was scared.
That's what I'm saying.
Know if I was scared.
It's just that there's like that self-defeating wall, but then once you get past it, you're like, wow, this was retarded. I should have been doing this for so long.
But I agree, but there's another bigger wall waiting for you that you got to jump over. Well, know that.
We're going through the wall. We ain't jumping over this one.
There we go. There. I like that.
Yeah, I respect it, dude. So I'm going to save everyone's ears. It seems like the hour and a half. I think we've been going on this for almost an hour and a half.
Oh, really?
This is a dope ass conversation. I really enjoyed.
I actually had fun.
I enjoyed this. Yeah, I learned a lot about your craft, about gaming, and just content and pushing forward. I always have 2 exit questions for my guests.
Oh, go ahead. I like that.
Yeah. The first one is the year's 2030. What is the status of Talk2Much, Mr. Sina, and just your whole brand?
Oh, wow. Well, do you really want me to say this?
Yeah, I like seeing what people.
My only goal in life is very simple. I'm either going to be a nobody or I'm going to be the greatest sports personality in the world one day. That's my only goal. I'm not coming for anything. Like, look, I don't care about money. I've grown up very comfortable. I've never really grown up with a bad hand. I grew up with 2 parents in the medical field, so I don't care really about money. I just really want to prove to everybody I'm better than them. So that's really my only goal in life, just to let people know. I want to be goated. I want to go down in history. This sports is my passion. I want to be the best sports personality in the world.
Simple.
And also, Talk2Much in 2030. Hopefully it's a great podcast label, but I can't really I adjust, and I have no loyalty to anything. So it's like if I see a better opportunity, I'm going to adjust. That's like a game of ladders. So
Yeah.
I hope it's that. But I know one thing. I promise you that name will be heard in 2030. I don't know how and what modem, but you'll hear that name. Talk2Much.
I respect that. It's all about making pivots. Many of the most successful
Yes.
companies have had multiple pivots throughout their history.
Yeah, like
So,
I was really torn on it. I was like, should I join the gaming team? And my homie was like, bro, they're pro gaming. Like, what are you doing right now that's better than that? So, I have to pivot. That's how I learned.
trial and error. You can't figure it out until you actually go through the emotional feelings that are with it. And my last question is always the most sentimental one: is what does Las Vegas mean to you?
Well, I just don't really. I try to eliminate that many sentiments. So I would say a home base. I'm lying because I know that if I were to leave this place and I were to come back 30 years later and I would walk down somewhere in Summerlin, I would bring back memories and I would start crying. So I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. But as of right now, I would say it's my home base. I can't lie to you. I was born in Romania and I have a lot of memories throughout the world, especially I'm an immigrant. So, but I can honestly say that I hope down the line before I die, this will be my home base. I'll consider this my home base.
Yeah, so many people have so many different opinions of it because
I do think one thing though, it is the best city in the world in my opinion, besides New York. I think the way it's rising, dude, the potential is through the roof with Vegas.
The one thing that's common is every single recognizes the huge amount of opportunity here and the rate that it is growing.
Yeah, if you deny it, you're dumb. But yeah.
And then for the listeners that maybe have missed out, the links will be in the bottom show notes as well. But where can they follow you and get involved?
Oh, wow. So you guys, everybody that's listening, you can follow me on Instagram at Xtra, XTRA Sina, SINA, all lowercase, no capitals, no spaces. And you could just look up at Xtra Athletics on Instagram and Twitter as well. You can find me on TikTok, on LinkedIn. And if you want to go look at my podcast, it's on YouTube under Talk2Much Entertainment.
Fuck yeah, guys. You heard it here first. Sina, this was awesome. I really enjoyed this.
Thank you, Jake. You impressed me today. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie. Before I get off, I want to say one thing. I don't ever do this. I was actually gauging Jake, and I was seeing how good of a host he was throughout this convo. I'm very impressed with this man. I'm not just saying this to hype you up. Runs a good show, and you're a naturalist. You have a knack for a conversation. So I'm not saying this to hype you up. You impressed me by your ability to run the combo. I was going to be tense. I was going to be timid a little bit, but I was trying to play different roles. You made it very smooth. So I got to say, I'm very impressed by you.
Oh man, dude, that gave me chills just hearing that. Yes. I appreciate it so much.
You fucking owe me for that later. You owe me that.
I told you I'm going to give you all the details. I just want to thank all of you for listening. If you want to watch it, there is the Zoomcast on YouTube. If not, then make sure you subscribe, like both of our casts, and follow us into the future. Thank you guys for listening.